So welcome back, Operation on the Rocks, episode 6, man. How you guys feeling tonight?
Marvelous.
Damn.
Yeah, ready to get this started?
Yeah,
Okay,
man.
good,
Like
good.
always.
So if you're new here, we talk about anything and everything controversial. And tonight is no exception. If you've been here in the past, you probably think, oh man, all these guys do is ever talk politics. But we got a lot more in store for you tonight, namely conspiracy theories. So grab your tinfoil hats because we're going to cover it all. But with that being said, first tonight, as we're bourbon connoisseurs, we got a little Four Roses for you guys tonight. And an interesting story about Four Roses that I didn't know before tonight is, so the founder, this was actually founded in the late 1800s, and the founder had proposed to a young, pretty gal. And if she said yes, she didn't tell him his answer. If she said yes, she would show up to a ball later that night wearing roses. So he walks in, she's wearing 4 red roses. That's how the name got. And so, funny story also too, during the Prohibition, this was one of the few drinks that was considered medicinal whiskey.
Oh, snap.
Wow.
So that's how it has survived since the 1800s. It's a little history lesson for you guys.
I love it.
Nice.
It's good stuff.
So like I said, man, we got our tinfoil hats, but tonight we got a very special topic to pop off this episode with, and that is something my man Chris here, I'm going to pass it off to you. Tell the folks what you want to talk about tonight.
Oh, snap, man. So, as you guys know, we've had a lot of stuff going on in the media. What I'd like to talk about today is Chud the Builder. I know that there's a lot of craziness, going on around this guy.
Yeah.
What I don't want to do is for us to all sit here and just agree that the dude is off his rocker, right? Because I think that we can all sort of look at him in the situation and be like, hey, he's wrong for what he's done. What I'm more interested in is what has led up to him being okay with this type of behavior. And outside of that, just looking at the people who are still backing him and thinking that it's okay. So I definitely want to get you guys' takes on that.
Well, first I want to hear, who is Chud the Builder, man? For our audience, who is Chud the Builder?
I mean, Chud,
What's got this guy Operation on the Rocks talking about?
Well, so I think one of the main key points for him is he's a big advocate of freedom of speech. And so he's sort of doing everything behind that, as a pillar, using that, hey, like I can say anything that I want to if I think it. This is America. We do what we want. But my thing is with that, you can do anything that you want. You can say anything that you want to. Like if I walk up to some unknown guy and I say, hey, your wife is a and then he punches me in my face, I said what I want is freedom of speech, right? But there's always consequences to your actions, you know what I mean? And so, but I think he's like running, his whole brand is sort of built on, I'm going to go around calling black people, names. I'm going to basically provoke them into some crazy situations. When they get mad, I'm going to call them the N-word. And then I'm going to say
So
that
the hard R.
Yeah, hard R, you know what I'm saying? Not the hood rap R or A, you know what I'm saying? So, and then at the end, he's that's where he's gaining his following from. And so if you don't know about it, it's easy. Just look it up. It's everywhere at this point. I think it's very interesting that he has hardcore followers who have actually followed him into the courtroom, advocating for him with the same type of behavior and they've been kicked out of the courtroom because of. I mean, just if you take a look at a couple of his videos, you're gonna see exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay.
How he conducts himself, yeah.
And just a little more perspective too for the audience. So Chud the Builder, you can find his videos on X, formerly Twitter. You can find all the uncensored versions on there as well. And so I think before I comment on my personal opinions, just so everybody knows, one of the things that he did, and he actually said was, and it was something along the lines, I don't know the exact terminology, but his goal was to provoke someone, namely an African American or a black person. And ultimately his goal was to end up shooting them and seeing how the court case played out. Okay? So before I answer my opinion, I want to hear also from you, Sean, about, your opinions as an African American, hearing, what do you think, all right, let's ignore Chud for the minute.
Right.
Someone approaches you in the street, drops the hard R, and then, excuse my language, says, you're chimping out. because that's one of Chud's main catchphrases, which caught him a lot of attention. So first of all, how would you respond? And then if it is a violent response or that's what you would want to do, if you didn't want to take that approach, how would you handle it?
I think my first response would be anger, but I think given our, all of us have a military background, I would assess the situation. This could be a setup, right? Which it was, right? If you follow what he was trying to do. So I think first my initial thought would be anger. Like what's going to pop next? As you know, I'm licensed to carry. So I'm thinking, okay, is this guy, he wants some type of smoke? Is it him and 3 other guys around the corner and they waiting to kill a black guy because that's just on their agenda for whatever reason? So these are the thoughts that would be going through my mind. I think, I'd be probably a lot more likely to engage in violence if my family was around. If it was just me, I probably would kind of be like, okay, this guy's a, whatever. Yeah. So let me pay attention to the room a little bit before I react. I think my reaction would be a lot worse if I had my son with me, my daughter with me, my wife with me, and you're trying to provoke me, with my family around. Yeah, that can get you a death sentence, right? And I'm not promoting anybody to murder anyone, but I am suggesting that there are consequences, to Noel's point, to your actions and your words. So, I think not just from a man perspective, right? Let's take out African American for a second, right? As a man, we all, I think for the most part, most men would agree, you give men a mutual respect until it's taken away, or you have to take it away from that person. That's what a wise man would do. Wise man gives another man mutual respect until they lose that respect. And if you're not giving me that, well then now I got 2 choices, right? I can either go ahead and walk away because I know it's not worth it, and who the fuck is this guy? Or I can engage in the next level.
Okay.
Those are my thoughts.
Valid points.
I'll agree with you on that because, as we know, men operate under the threat of violence. There's not a man that you're going to engage with, that you meet them, and there needs to be some sort of courtesy or respect fundamentally, or there could be a potential for violence there. For Chud himself, dude's a total clout chaser. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
This is all a stunt to gain followers, gain social media attraction. And one thing that we've learned about social media is that if someone can do something and get clout from it, someone will do it. So if people could go out and show their buttholes and get away with it in public and get followers for that, people are going to do that. So it's a total clout chasing thing. I would not engage in that kind of interaction with somebody. Take the N-word out of it. Take dealing with someone black specifically out of it. Just men in general, or just the way I operate in the world. I don't engage with people like that. I'm not looking for clout or clout chasing. So. He did shoot somebody outside of the courthouse. Yep. That's kind of the piece at hand here. It's still ongoing. I don't know. I know some of the facts and stuff are coming out still, which I think is interesting. We're in this world where everything is videoed, yet whenever we look at these cases, there are still parts that aren't videoed or whatever. But Fox, the gentleman that got shot, the case that I'm hearing that Chud is going to present is that Fox actually closed the gap. He physically brought the altercation closer. And so Chud was verbalizing, right? But the other guy took action. So that potentially is the defense for him.
Sure. That's that provocation piece though, right? Yeah, are you, because, if you premeditate hurting a group of individuals, and there's a conversation between Myron from Fresh and Fit, if anybody's familiar with him, and another guy named DJ Academics, who's a long time hip hop kind of spokesperson.
Pundit, yeah.
And basically DJ Academics was like, look, think about it like this. You have, Israeli people that will say, hey, you're being an anti-Semite. We have a right to defend ourselves. We're going to murder you. We're going to murder them. right? Now, obviously, that's on a larger scale. We're talking about worldwide conflict, but the same rule applies, right? If you're going to target a group of individuals, you can't then suggest that they should be soft on you or on the situation because they're black or because they're white or because they're Asian. You should just fall back and do nothing. Right. So I think I guess my follow-up question for you guys is, where do you guys think this kind of thought process comes from? And what I mean by that is, Chud obviously believed, and probably still believes, now that he's in court, that he was going to get off, that the cops would have his back, even though in all these situations he's the one that is, being, antagonizing a group of people. Why do you think that is?
Man, I don't think you could have set this up any better. I was just about to go on. So I'm gonna add another layer to this conversation. So Chris, you were the first one that introduced me to Chud the Builder.
Okay.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I'd never heard of the guy.
I'd never heard of the guy until my man Chris here and Sean told me about it at work. Chris sent a video and said we need to talk about this on the podcast. Just a little backstory to how this topic even came up. I watched one video and this was my exact first thought. And it goes down two avenues. What emboldens someone this level of, I'm just going to use the word courage. It takes balls of steel, man, to walk up. This guy's walking up to a group of like 4 black dudes, dropping the hard R. Man, listen, that takes some courage like that. It's either I can only think of, is this a mental health issue? Again, is this a clout chasing riff?
Can I challenge that a little bit?
I got the same thought.
Here's my thing. In this room right now, we got 5 dudes. You feel me? If I feel like if I wanted to be a threatening individual, right? And if I felt like, I'm not gonna walk up to 5 dudes unarmed. That's the first thing. You feel me? Because he's walking up to dudes, provoking them, and then we didn't say this before, but he's also pulling out firearms, right? And he's like, hey, I'm gonna shoot you, like brandishing, right? So he's already been in trouble for those types of things. That's like the thing to me, you know what I mean? And he's already sort of made like his agenda known. And the underlying thing as well, if you go in those chats, these videos, is people are saying, yo, his agenda is pretty much like to start a race war. You feel me?
But is this...
Right.
This leads down to another conspiracy theory.
Okay.
Are these people supporting him just straight bots?
It could be a mixture. It could be a mixture.
Those of you who don't know the dead internet theory, and that the theory is that most internet traffic is from Chinese and Russian bots.
Well, I don't disagree with that, but I think, and I also want to add to what you're saying and challenge what you said about him being brave. It isn't brave to walk up to someone and say, hey, man, and use a slur for whatever your race is, or if I call somebody white trash, or, what I'm saying, something that's really fucked up and I don't know you. I just see you at McDonald's with your wife and your kids, and I'm like, you're this.
Yeah.
Right? And then you get upset, and I say, well, why are you honking out? Why are you doing this? I'm going to call the cops. You're threatening me. You say, I'm going to beat your ass, and I'm going to say, I'm calling the cops then.
And then when you say that, you pull out a gun.
And then you come close to me, and then I pull out my gun. Now, is that bravery, or is that courage, a sense of...
Well, I mean, even still, it still takes some level of bravery, right, to still do that. Because the average rational human being that has somewhat of a brain thinks this is maybe not a good idea, because we live in the most armed state in the world. Like, nobody in no other country in the world comes close to the amount of guns that you can find in 1 square mile.
I want to challenge you on that, man. So I would call it cowardice and audacity. I think
audacity is a good word.
Yeah, audacity. Like the audacity to do everything that he just said. And because if I know I have the upper hand on somebody, look, if I know
that's the real question.
Yeah, like you know that you have the upper hand. If I see a dude in McDonald's with his family and I walk up and I'm like, bro, you a freaking da. You know what I'm saying? I provoke him, he gets mad, then I pull out something, I say something else. You know, now I put him in a predicament to where it's like, dang, bro, like,
what am I gonna do?
And then I walk away and call him another, and it's all for views.
Or call the cops. You guys saw that. Well, I mean, for the audience, so go check out the videos for yourself, make your own decisions. But there's a specific video where he goes to a 7-Eleven or a gas station, He's in line. Now, mind you, nobody's talking to him, but he's in line. He's got his phone out. He's filming, and there's a black guy either in front of him or behind him. He starts talking to him. First, he says something to the effect of, "Do you believe in free speech?" Right? And the guy's like, "Yeah, sure." Like, he's not paying him any mind. He's just, "Yeah, sure, whatever." Then he starts using the slurs. Then the guy's like, "What are you doing, man?" Blah, 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 blah. Right? So he punches him in his face, or he slaps him, one of the two. He punches Chud in the face. Upon punching Chud in the face, Chud goes outside, then calls cops. He calls the cops. He doesn't fight him. He calls the cops, and he says, "Yeah, these black guys are bothering me." So the real question here is, does Chud believe that our system, and this is the real conspiracy question, and we're going to talk race here a little bit, is there an underlying, invisible thought process in white America that suggests that, yeah, I know the cops are on my side. And I know that if I get into some altercation with an individual who is not white and I call the cops, that more than likely, right? This is not every time, but more than likely, they're going to take my side. So I can do this to this black person.
I can see where he specifically might believe that, but white America in general, I don't think that that's the case. Courage or audacity, there's a thin line between all of that and crazy. Okay. And I think that Chud has definitely revealed himself to be crazy because and to be a clout chaser because he's specifically using the N-word specifically with black people. But you could get a similar reaction by just calling any man a biche. Hey, what's up, biche? Yeah. What's up? You know what I'm saying? So, but he knows specifically the algorithm is going to pick up on that N-word. It's going to pick up on targeting a certain class of people, and that's the way to skyrocket his accounts the quickest.
Do you guys think he had a bad experience in the past?
Well, who doesn't have a bad experience? Or, that's no excuse.
That's true. I don't think so.
With any race, right? Or,
yeah, it doesn't matter. That's irrelevant to
Well, I'm gonna pass answering on your first question because again, former cop here. I don't think that's the case at all with white America. I never felt that people thought that I was on their side because they were white. I'm white. I never felt that, right?
Okay.
And I certainly didn't. My goal was to never. I mean, you're given a gun and a badge, and you can take away someone's freedom. So I took that very seriously, and I made sure that I dotted my I's. Did everything I could to make sure I was making the best decision. So I don't think that's the case.
Yeah. And when I say honestly, white America, I don't mean all white America.
We're talking about fringe. The only way we can make these points is if we generalize. Correct. I totally get that.
Correct. Go ahead.
Man, I think this is just a case of, people do anything to get famous.
Right. I got a couple conspiracy questions.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So now that this has happened, it's a thing people are tracking. Are there conspiracy stories or a continuation of the I'm gonna make a comparison but I not necessarily trying to crack this open, but George Floyd, and then it's, hey, they're doing to us, they're killing us in the streets, right? So that kind of thing, right? So that's one side of the conspiracy. The other side of the conspiracy is if he's able to get off, the justice system doesn't work.
But that's my point, and that's the larger, that's the system, and that's what I was trying to get at when I said, again, and I'll be more specific this time. I'm not talking about all white America because I fully understand. I'm not talking about all cops being on the side of, just because of your race. What I am saying though is there still, because I think we can all agree that in America's past that was the case. We can't wash that away and say, oh, it was just never like that. It was like that up to a certain degree. In the country.
Well, here's the sad part about it, man. Like listen, I've grown up around everybody, basically. You know what I'm saying? White, Hispanic. It doesn't matter. And so the thing is, the sad part about that is, while I believe what you guys are saying, it's not mostly like white America. It has it out. I do think that contextually, if whatever picture the media is trying to paint, they have that ability to sort of push a narrative, right? So my thing is like, depending on where you're talking about, I know like today there's still sundown towns that exist, which is crazy. You feel me? So if we go to a town and like wherever, I'm not gonna say a state, I don't want to offend anybody. You feel me? But if you go to a state,
Offend their asses.
you know what I'm saying? Deep South, whatever. You feel me? And we still have these same rules back in the 50s, 40s, or whatever, where black people can't be out. Like maybe the people do sort of have that mentality, be like, yo, if I don't like this black guy walking on my street, all I got to do is call the police, and then
I think we've seen a couple of examples, like with what's my guy that got shot running in the neighborhood?
Ahmaud Arbery.
Yeah, that was pretty recent. That was like within 10 years, you know. And these are anecdotal, right? So I don't want to, like you said, I don't want to generalize. But what I'm talking about is if he does get off, does that speak like the Asian guy that just got off for killing that kid in Colombia? That was like last week.
Didn't he like follow him like a mile, and then
he followed him for a mile, shot him. You know, turns out kid didn't have nothing in his bag. Okay, cool. Kid's dead. Got off. Now, if Chud gets off, right? Does that just mean that the judge is just inadequate, or is there anything underlying there?
Well,
we don't know.
The way Mario explained it, man, there's a chance he'll get off.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's so many variables, facts of the case, his defense, the prosecution,
his
the judge,
actions
the
in
jury.
His actions in general.
There's so many
right?
variables. Yeah.
It's called the totality of the circumstances, right? So, I mean, you have a guy whose main goal was to agitate. And that will play in, I feel that will play into the fact, but the way it sounds, he's walking out the courthouse, some guy attacks him.
The unfortunate...
we don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
And honestly, I hope justice looks at the entire picture versus just this isolated incident of the courthouse.
And then how much of the context is allowed into that case?
Exactly.
You know,
Like
how much of his past, how much of what his online presence is outside of the actual event at hand.
Right. So we're going to see, man. But
I'm going to just say this and then we can move on with it. But can we honestly sit here and say that if the roles were reversed or the characters were reversed, if a black dude was walking around calling, you know what I'm saying?
Honky.
Like that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Antagonizing white people or white
folks,
families,
and then pulling
or
guns,
Asian families.
you know what I'm saying? And then like because I feel like what you said is true. Like I feel like they're going down to the nitty gritty and to figure out like, well, is there a possible way? Are they coming from the angle of is there a possible way that this dude?
Well, I think you're seeing it in real time with Carmelo Anthony. In the high school,
like is there a way? Is there a way we can possibly get this dude off the hook? Because my thing is, people who look like me have been put under the jail for less. You know what I'm saying? It's just the again, I'm gonna go back to that word, the audacity for somebody to approach and do this, that, and the third. We're gonna put him under the prison. You know what I'm saying? And we don't. There's no need to try to go into specifics and details and the nitty gritty. Like we know what we saw. He did what he did. And he's gonna serve his sentence because that's the way justice works here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. People that look like you have been thrown in jail for way less than that. I do want to say though, I think generally speaking, if the roles were reversed, that black individual who'd been going around and aggressizing white people would be finding themselves in a similar situation.
Right.
Oh yeah,
right.
And it was just luck that Chud didn't. He shot himself in the process. It was luck that he didn't kill himself in the process.
And
or the other guy didn't have a gun.
Chud, right. But if Chud wants to try it again, if he does get off, I don't think that the same situation is going to play out twice.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
It's interesting.
I hate to break all this up, but I do want to bring something up.
Yeah.
Man, I'm very sad because you guys didn't cheers. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
man.
Go ahead.
Let me
get
ready
that
to
it.
You guys probably can't hear my voice is good right now, but I'll pour my man up an extra.
Yo, chill out.
The Four Roses, man. We gotta cheers it up.
Right there.
Valid points across the board, though, man. And Trey, as always, man. You know I respect. You know what you did as an officer, man. So we appreciate your perspective on that shit. You know what I mean?
Man, I got you.
Yeah, fill it up.
So with that being said, we talk about Chud a little bit. Let's get a little cheers going.
Hey,
there it is.
Cheers. I got to reach across
fellas.
the board, gentlemen.
Yep.
Yeah.
So while this makes it seem like it's the actual podcast starting, man, everybody knows the main storylines, right? Everybody knows the Iran war, the Strait of Hormuz being blocked, gas prices, inflation, you name it. what about all the stuff that gets swept under the rug in this chaos? And one thing that I feel has not been getting enough attention, the UAP release files.
Yep.
For the audience who doesn't know, UAP is an unidentified aerial phenomenon, aka UFO.
Yep.
And so the way we want to start this, man, is so it's well known now, and a quick Google search will show you that in the 1960s, you know, these early years, the CIA went through massive efforts to discredit anyone that talked about UFOs, right? If you talked about it, you lost your academics. You were made to look like you were crazy, all these kind of things. We can talk about Bob Lazar. For those of you who don't know who Bob Lazar is, he claimed he worked at Area 51, and he worked on extraterrestrial craft that was recovered from Roswell, if I recall correctly.
Roswell, yep.
So with that being said, there was a lot of stuff that was released in these UAP files, and there's a lot of images. Nothing really groundbreaking in my opinion, but my main question to you guys is, one, what do you think it is? And two, why now?
And say whether you believe or not in your answer.
Okay, yes.
So we get yes.
Okay.
Right.
And so I want to start this off with you, Mr. Christopher Noel.
Oh,
I feel like y'all picking
Oh,
on me
get
today,
it, big
man.
dog.
It's your day to shine,
yes,
baby.
sir.
Look, I feel like y'all picking on me. It's okay though. So my thing first, I do think that there's something else out there outside of us. It's a vast universe. We don't have to get into specifics and you know that portion. I'm more interested in the why now. Because my thing is at this
Same
point,
here.
with everything going on in the world, I'm sort of like, so what? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so, okay,
You're
so
numb.
what? Like, yeah,
Numb
like we've
to
been
it.
talking about this mess forever. Like, but that's cool. That's cool. But my thing is like, I feel like everything nowadays is a freaking magic trick. You know what I'm saying? When we talking about politics or agendas and whatever angle you want to approach it from, I'm like, okay, I see this hand doing this, but I'm not paying attention to that. I'm paying attention to the hand behind your back. I'm
Behind
wondering
the
what
curtain.
what the heck is going on there? So aliens, you know what I'm saying? Like UFOs, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's interesting. You know, I'm like, wow, what really is going on? But I'm sort of at the point of keeping the main thing. Like, tell me what we're really looking for. Like, what are you trying to hide? You know what I mean? And so, yes, I do think, to answer your question, I do think that there's some extraterrestrial activity and there's some aliens out there.
And why now, in your opinion?
Yeah, I'm more concerned with agendas and why that's important right now at this juncture. And so that's just me.
Yeah. No, I can't disagree at all with that, man. I agree 100%. I do believe that there are things revealing themselves at this point and in the past. I think that they have revealed themselves throughout history. We have cameras now. I think the reason why they're releasing it is because we're at a point now where humanity is small. Humanity, in the sense, is a lot smaller because we can see everything.
More
I can
connected?
see Africa right now. I can see Europe right now. I can see China right now. Maybe not China, but you guys get the drift. I can see some parts of Asia online. I can go and figure out information and dig up files on the internet right now right on my phone. This is an information age. And because it's an information age, we are, one, overstimulated and oversaturated with information, which is probably why you feel numb. But the second part to it is, if there is, and we're all Christians in here, we've all read, or at least, skimmed through Revelation and got a chance to kind of understand that there are things that are supposed to happen. And there will be one world order that the Antichrist can lead. Well, how do you get there? If we believe as we believe, there's got to be a path to make that happen.
The why now is about to get interesting, huh?
Right. So if we know that, follow up on some of the biblical things that are happening. Some of the rivers are drying up, right? Euphrates River is drying up. You have, rain in places that it's not supposed to be a drought. You have famine in places where there used to be an abundance, right? And so on and so forth. World leaders are starting to connect in different ways that we haven't seen in the past. We know we have the weaponry in the world to destroy the world, right? So we're already moving towards we're in a digital age of money where currency is about to become completely digital. All of these things lead to the Antichrist. Well, how do you actually get a world to unify? By saying there's a common enemy.
Common threat, yeah.
That's my opinion. So I do believe it's real. I personally believe that it is biblical. I think personally they're interdimensional beings, which the Congress people have been saying so. And I believe that these fallen angels.
Yes, there we go. I do believe that.
That's what I think.
Man, that was a lot. Let me try to reconfigure my thoughts, because we went from aliens to apocalypse. And I kind of have thoughts on both. For aliens, I do believe in the possibility of it, but I don't believe until I'm gonna believe, until it's actually there and it's hard, concrete evidence. Although I do have a resident alien conspiracy theorist in my family who I've talked to over the years, and tells me things like, the reason why Antarctica has not been claimed by any country is because aliens run it.
I heard that.
Okay, right. So Admiral Byrd, after World War II, Byrd was deployed to Antarctica to cultivate and see what is down there, essentially like a fact-finding mission, and claims that he got ran out by aliens. Whether that's true or not.
He got ran out.
Yeah,
it was actually a battle.
They got their butts kicked.
Yeah,
Yes,
it was actually
yes.
a full-blown fledged battle.
They got their butts
Battle
kicked.
with aliens?
Right.
On battleships and airplanes, yes.
Allegedly, the aliens told the world leaders not to use nuclear bombs anymore. That's why we have not seen any nuclear bombs since World War II.
Interesting.
Yes. I think the machines are going to be a problem long before the aliens. So, like, that's what I'm saying. Is I believe in the possibility of it, but I'm more interested and focused on what's in front of me. And I see
transhumanism.
Yeah, that. And I do believe in the prophecies of the Bible, but I also believe, guys, there's nothing we can do about it. I mean, we don't want to play into that world, but it's going to happen.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
and so, like to unite the world as a common enemy, so the aliens would be the common enemy. Who would be the common enemy in that scenario we laid out?
So the way it plays out in the Bible is, right, the Antichrist will present himself through the ocean, right? But really, we're thinking about the ocean of politics, right? So you have a leader that springs up. He's all knowing, right? In our eye, in the world's eyes, he has plenty of wisdom, and he's going to give us world peace. Well, world peace from what?
There's got to be some type of adversity. Yeah.
The world is so fucked up, is so messed up that we have to have something. Now, Christians, right, the ones who don't have the veil over their eyes, will be able to be like, nah, this isn't it, right? They have the discernment, right? But the majority of the world is going to be like, no, we need this guy. We have to have this guy, and he is going to bring about the peace. Well, if I don't know if you guys have heard of the Project Bluebeam, I highly recommend you check out Project Bluebeam. There's books out there. You can look on YouTube, just look up Project Bluebeam. Project Bluebeam essentially says that with the technology, and we know we have the technology to do this, they're going to present the world with some type of event, some type of catastrophic event that is completely digitized, completely used with drones in the sky, but they are going to murder people, and they're going to say it's as the result of a common enemy. And because of that common enemy, we need to unite as one world order. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen within the next 10 years, but I do think it's going that route.
No man, know
aliens,
the time or the date.
Right.
Yeah,
These beings, right? Because the Congress people are not calling them aliens anymore. I don't know if y'all are paying attention to that. They've changed from calling them aliens to interdimensional beings.
Strange.
And that's something else, because I looked at some of the stuff, and it's like, whatever, 30,000 files, whatever the drop is. Have you guys seen the there? Because everything I'm seeing is like FBI classified envelope. FBI or CIA
Shit
classified.
flying away.
Yeah.
Like
have you guys seen like the tits?
The only thing that the only tit story that I will agree that is recent. I don't know if you guys remember this, but about 2 years ago in Miami Mall, there was like an army of cops. An army of cops. I'm talking about like the whole city of Miami cops, PD, went to this mall. They claimed it was because kids were fighting in the mall. They claimed it was because But if during the interviews with the people that were running out of the mall, they were like, no, these motherfuckers came out of, and this is like people all over the mall, because this is Miami Mall, it's huge. All over the mall saying the same shit. These portals essentially opened up, and these giant men or beings came out of the portals.
Oh, Nephilim. Okay.
And that's what they were saying was why people were bugging out and why they sent so many people there.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, man,
That's recent.
What a topic.
Yeah.
We go from Chud the Builder to Apocalypse and
That motherfucker might be an
aliens.
alien.
So, man, to answer the question number one, do I believe? I really don't know. And man, this sounds controversial to say, but honestly, I just don't care anymore. And the reason I don't care is because I don't know what to believe. I don't believe anything I'm told anymore. It's gotten to that point where I literally like, man, it could just happen right in my face, and I'm like, did that even really happen, or is that all for show? And I'm going to add another layer to this, and you mentioned the ocean, which I was going to say, and I don't think they're coming from space. I think they're coming.
USOs.
I think they're coming straight out of the ocean, just like
unidentified sunken objects.
yes,
Or
just
submerged
like
objects.
just like the Navy has been releasing most of their files. These objects come straight out of the water, man, in the middle of the ocean. And as far as the why now, to me that is a terrifying question, and like that is something that. There's so many scenarios that run through my head when you think why now, when your own government spent not even our own government, it feels like the whole world went that route of no, these things don't exist, you're crazy, aliens, blah blah blah. And you think about like, okay, to me there's one or two scenarios. This is engineered, or no, three scenarios, sorry. This is engineered. These things are real and we have no answer for them as far as if they're our enemy. They're more technologically advanced than we could imagine, and we're completely outmatched here. And they just kind of like, hey, preparing to say, hey, these are really our masters, and essentially, and they control, all this. And then three, this is some sort of biblical prophecy where the Nephilim, interdimensional beings, and these are demons floating around. I don't know, but all three do not sound like scenarios that we're really prepared for, honestly.
No, we're not prepared for it.
I mean, could you imagine any of the three things I just said? Could you imagine how your life would change if Donald Trump got on TV and said one of those three things?
Yeah, drastically would be an understatement, but there's nothing that you can do about it.
There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. And me as a Christian, I'm getting on my knees and I'm praising.
Right.
I'm praising the one who I've always praised.
Right. And this is going to get something that's going to get me roasted in the comments, but I'll say it. If I do see aliens, I'm going to ask them if they know Jesus Christ.
I think I would too. No, that would be the first thing I'd want to ask these things is, do you believe in a creator? And what is his name?
That's
what
correct,
is his
because
name?
we do not know. Right. We do not know what their reference is to, and that could be what has brought them here to us, whether they know it or not, with their sophisticated technology and other items.
Yeah,
right.
Have you guys seen The Fourth Kind?
No.
There's a movie
A
that I highly
documentary?
recommend. There's a documentary, but there's also a movie called The Fourth Kind that was made in like 2012 or something like that, and it goes into detail about like an alien abduction. They're after this one particular chick, and it's almost like a possession. Now, when she gets possessed, right, and this is why I say I believe it's biblical, because they're saying to her or through her that they are God. That we created it, we are God, we are the ones. Now, if you ever listen to, I highly recommend that the audience, and if you guys haven't done so, check out the responses that some of these beings have when you use the name of Christ. They flee.
There's power in the name.
Yeah.
So the question is, if they have the same creator, and they recognize Christ, because if aliens are real and they're from outer space, then Christ is an earthly thing, right? The heavens and the earth. Why would they know, for one, and two, why would they bow or flee from the name of Jesus?
Sounds like they be trying to deceive us and say, yeah, nah, there's life out here, and it was created through the Big Bang, and
we've been around much longer than y'all. which is probably true.
Deceitful.
They probably have more power and more wisdom than we do, right? That's when you start talking about the Anuka and what's it
I know
called?
what you're talking. Anuki, Anuki or something like that.
Anuki. Right.
Anuki.
The whole theory
Would you
behind
guys,
the Anuki.
yeah, would you guys touch on that? Because I'm not tracking.
Right.
You
So
might know a little bit more.
the
Go ahead, Trey.
Anuki, and this comes from straight from the depths of the internet. And this is such a great topic because this is actually something I want to talk about. I didn't even plan on talking about. And the first thing I want to say before I mention what the Anuki is holy crap, man. The lengths that people will go, in my opinion, to discredit Jesus Christ. Anything and everything. Like, I'll believe in something so ridiculous as long as it's not Jesus. And obviously you can tell I'm passionate about this, by the way. But the Anuki, the theory is that they engineered us as basically a race.
Is this a Scientology joint?
No.
Okay.
So the
No,
Anuki, they engineered us to work for them, to mine gold, to do something on their planet as their planet was dying or something along that lines. But they basically created us to serve them, and that one day they'll come back. And that's where the Jesus story comes from. And I just think, man, like, some people would rather believe in that than a God that died on the cross for us and that died for you so that you could have eternal salvation. But you would rather believe in that than believe in this. But either way, that's what the Anuki is, a group of highly intelligent extraterrestrial beings that long ago came to Earth, built the pyramids. We built the pyramids. They helped us build the pyramids, and they mined gold, went back to their planet, did whatever, and that one day they'll return to check on us.
But that's where, like, the Egyptian, like, gods, which
Horus and all
the
that.
African gods, right? If we, just a quick history lesson, a lot of the Greek gods and then eventually Roman gods came from some of the Egyptian gods and African gods. And then, of course, they changed their names, right? But if you look at Greek and Roman, a lot of them are very similar. Yeah. If you look at Egyptian, Ra, and then you have some Anubis and all of this, it all transformed. But they say that these beings that Trey just mentioned here were the ones that were the originators of those beings, right? And then it spread across humanity prior to, before Christianity.
Right.
So that's why, and I get, if you haven't been raised in the faith, and not just raised in the church, I think those are two different things. Raised in the faith, meaning you have developed a relationship with Jesus yourself individually without anybody helping you, then I can see how you may say, well, these Anuki things were, Anunnaki things were around long before Jesus was talked about. Why should I believe in Jesus?
Right.
So even though we may look at them with a sense of judgment, I often can understand as somebody that doesn't have discernment or hasn't read the book.
I do too, and that's going to be a whole nother podcast episode because that would be that would need to go very in depth.
It would, but I'm going to segue since we're talking about beings, right? And we're talking about how these beings want worship because that's what they're asking for, essentially. Has anybody heard of the Bohemian Grove?
Yeah.
Anybody heard about that? You guys heard about that?
You guys got to fill me in.
Okay.
So
in I'm gonna round it. It's like 1876 ish. 1880, around that time.
Audience, fact check them on the year.
Yeah, fact check me on the year. Give me the year in the comments if you got it. I think it was 1876. I could be wrong. But it was definitely in the 1800s, late 1800s. And this gentleman who was essentially a very famous screenplay actor. He was around the elite circles and rich circles. He was rich himself. He decided to create a club, and the club was meant for a highfalutin society at that time.
Oh, I know what you're talking
to
about.
have a separate place that they can go. That's how it started, right?
It's in California.
It's in California.
Is this all the blood sacrifice type things?
So I'm gonna get to that. So basically, he started the club, and it was called the Bohemian Club, and the Bohemian Club was meant for like superstars in their time to get away, and they bought like 200 acres of land in California in the woods, right? They would go, all of these things. Now it gets interesting when as time progressed and more people became a part of this club, that they started doing some strange things, right? The costume parties were elaborate. They talked about having ritualistic orgies,
doing pagan rituals,
right? To further influence the world, right? They're praying to these pagan gods because they believe that they're going to grant them success, riches, and more influence. So you have presidents there.
I was gonna say, like, the comments fact check me, but like JFK went there, Nixon went there, Reagan went there, right? So
actors,
yes, all of Hollywood.
Yep.
So why are they going there?
So the gist is they're going there to, one, it's a giant networking party. I mean, it's a giant networking. You have the president, but then you also have the parliament going there. This is the Epstein class, right? This is the Epstein class before we knew about the Epstein class.
Mega wealthy, super rich, can
CIA
do what they
directors,
want, can buy what they want.
Mossad directors, all these around the world. They're coming to this one spot during the summertime. Now, where it gets interesting and biblical is this. Supposedly, there is a giant man-made owl that is there. And if you know a little bit about demonology, just a little bit, right? There is a demon that represents that, and his name is Moloch.
Yep.
And Moloch,
I know this.
Moloch does the ritual of caretaking. And the ritual of caretaking is when you sacrifice a child to Moloch. It's partly why God had the flood, right? And why he was trying to completely get rid of these false gods, right? And the people that worship these gods. So they're going there because they're asking Moloch to grant them the power of success. I'm gonna tell y'all some other fucked up shit that's a conspiracy. Take a look at Drake's Take Care album cover.
Yeah.
In front of the album cover, there's a candle,
symbolism has been
an
there.
owl in the middle of it, and a chat, like a cup that he has to drink from. All three of those things are on
that was what really propelled him to superstardom.
Now, I'll give you another fun fact. Drake is half Jewish. Okay?
Oh, man.
Now, I'm not saying that just because you're Jewish, it means you're involved in these things.
Right.
But the understanding of Kabbalah, these gods that we're not supposed to worship, and the ritualistic, I guess what's the word I'm looking for here? Influence that can help you gain stardom. Some interesting stuff.
Very interesting.
Yeah, so
what are your thoughts there?
I watched a long form interview with Alex Jones, who,
man.
whether you know him or like him or not, he was on the forefront of busting Bohemian Grove 20 years ago when this stuff was all shrouded in back smoke-filled rooms. I forgot what the name of that seance is with the owl, but it is the thing they do every summer. They pay tribute to this pagan god. It is, as you were saying, actors, politicians,
you name it.
Right. You name it. I don't. Well, let me pass it off. I had a thought, but I'm buzzed. And I lost my thoughts.
The four roses.
Fair enough.
There it is.
Fair enough. So
you need somebody filled up, man.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is this. It sounds like you guys are saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you guys are saying that the elites and wealthy are selling their souls for success on earth.
And you sound crazy, bro.
Is that what you're telling me?
It's same as it ever was.
Same as it ever was. That's right.
So then that begs the question of, if these people sound like they shape a lot of policies and they have influence over our lives, and that goes back to the age-old question of God or Satan.
Yeah.
Who are we serving? Who are they serving? I know who I serve, but who are they serving, and what path are they leading us down? And I think this ties back into the UAPs, according to what we've been talking about. And where do you think, when the Epstein files were released, there's a lot of this kind of talk in it, a lot of child sacrificing, a lot of drinking their blood for immortality and things like that. Where do you guys think we end up? And not even just as a society, but the human race in general. Where does this lead us if all this is true?
Hey, I'm going to just say this because I just feel led to say this right now, man. Like, I think, because you said the human race, like, where does this lead us? And this can get into a whole, I know we don't have a lot of time. a whole different type of discussion. But like, I believe the reason that we were created in the first place is to have a
To make that choice.
to make that choice and to have a relationship with Jesus or Christ, right? And I think that everything that we've talked about tonight, I think that the enemy is here to steal, kill, destroy. But I also think that he knows if he can keep you, keyword, distracted for the span of your lifetime, then he's got you. You know what I mean? So all these different things, whether it be Bohemian Grove, whether it be aliens,
The
whether it
Anuki.
be Anuki, whether it be like, he knows it, because what does the Bible say? That there, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father except through me, right? John 14:16, right? So like, if he knows that, if he can keep you distracted away from that right there with whatever path you choose to go down, you know, then he's got you. You know what I mean? Our life, like, is it's like a vapor. You know what I mean? And so I think that whoever's going to these parties, and I look, Satan is the god of the world. You know what I mean? And so if you
Prince and
fall under
power
that,
there. Yeah.
And if that, exactly. And so if you don't have the discernment which comes from a relationship with Christ, right, then you're going to fall victim to everything.
Correct.
Pick your path.
Anything and everything.
Pick your flavor of death. Basically, that's what Satan is saying. Look, I don't care what you do. If you want to go down this path, you can do that. If you want to go down this path, just don't do that one. I'm offering you, as Satan, I'm offering you 20 billion paths to go down. Just don't pick that one right there.
It's like what Mario said one episode. You must choose. You have no
There we go.
option
Yeah,
but
yeah,
to
yeah.
choose with
1000%.
Christianity.
Yeah.
And so,
Even if you don't choose, you've still made a choice.
Right. Let's just hope it's not the wrong one, man. Because if the Bible prophecies are true, oof.
Can I say one more thing that this is one of what I was trying to remember earlier about Bohemian Grove. So I watched an interview with a Satanist who is a grand wizard of magic, or was a grand wizard of magic in the satanic cult. And I know there's several different factions. I don't remember which one, but he was talking about how he would go to Bohemian Grove. There are different types of spells that you can put on individuals, and the biggest one is called a hex. And when you put a hex on somebody, the seance has to be done by performing an abortion.
wow.
Yes, in the moment.
What do you mean? Seance? What are you talking about?
Yeah, well, the ritual to complete the spell.
Has to sacrifice a
Yes, you have to
unborn
sacrifice.
child.
What if you
Right.
don't?
Then it doesn't work, or it's less effective. But that's a part of. And he said that the rich and famous and powerful and connected and etc. would come to him and his church and offer hundreds of thousands of dollars. Whatever
to have
that
a
number
spell
is.
put on them?
No, to have a spell put on their enemy.
Wow,
That's
man.
the influence
Wow.
portion.
Yes.
So for those of who are less knowledgeable in this area, please correct me. A seance is basically where you're doing a ritual to connect with some type of demonic presence,
Some
correct?
sort of demonic presence
Okay.
or power. Yes.
Interesting.
And human beings do have the ability to do so, and that's the crazy part, is we have the ability to touch either side, right? If you are passionate enough when it comes to Jesus and you're further along in your Christianity journey, you can touch base with the Holy Spirit, right? You can cast out demons. I mean, Jesus gave us the ability to do that.
Right.
If we're at that point in our lives where we have, reached that threshold.
Right.
Same thing works with, like you were saying, these Satanists, these witches, these warlocks and wizards and whatnot. They could do the same.
You know what's crazy about that? And I'm hoping that I'm not repeating what somebody else said. What did you say? If you're passionate enough about that endeavor, then you can.
You have that much growth in you.
You have that much growth. And so I heard a story where somebody was in an airplane, right? They were about to take a trip or whatever. Person was a Christian, so they were sitting next to a woman. They got to talking, chit chatting, and whatever. I guess some food came by, and they were like, "Hey, do you want something?" And they were like, "No." And so it got to the point to where the lady was like, "I'm fasting," and the lady said, "Oh, are you Christian? What church you go to? Or are you fasting?" Like, "No, I'm." And then the lady turned around and told her, like, "No, I'm a Satanist." It's like, wait, like, so you're fasting And it's like, no. And it came out that the Satanist was fasting. So because they were going to a gathering, whatnot, so that they can put spells on pastors' sons and daughters, basically. But I say that to say, like, so you fasting, taking away something, your desires, basically sacrificing something so that you can have so you can be better in touch with more of a spiritual side.
Spiritual connection.
But it goes both ways. That's the point I'm saying. So you connecting with the Holy Spirit, or you connecting with the spirits that are against the Holy Spirit, you know, it works both ways.
I'll tell you guys a story real quick, and I agree 100% because I know we're running out of time, so I'll leave it with this story unless somebody has something to add. But so me and my let it rip. So me and my wife, my daughter, and my son, we're walking in this town. We're actually walking, I want to say it's Greensboro or Greensville, which is a place in North Carolina, folks. Greensville's in South Carolina. And so we're walking. We're going to get some ice cream. We're looking for ice cream. It's a nice day. And my wife's like, hey, why don't we go to this spot? Now, it's one of those, like, artsy shops. You know, they got the pride flags and everything. But, I mean, whatever. Like, we've all seen those stores, and I'm assuming all of us have been in them at least once or twice, right? So, you know, they sell shirts and all kinds of knickknacks and stuff. But something told me, no, we're not going to go in that store. I don't know what it was, because they were selling ice cream. They were selling ice cream in the store. And my wife's like, yeah, let's just go in here. But as we're walking by, I'm like, I don't know. Now, mind you, like I said, I've seen these stores before. We've all been seeing these stores before, and I haven't really had any feelings about it, right? Not really. But this particular store we walked by, I said, no, babe, we're not gonna do this one. Let's keep going. We'll find some ice cream. She's like, oh, okay, well, you know, fine. Like, we'll just keep walking. As we're walking, right, two little girls, not little girls, I'd say they're probably around like 17, 18 years old. They walk by, right by my wife, and they're talking amongst themselves about to go into the store. And they say, yeah, that's the witch store. Let's go in there. Let's go in there and get some something they wanted to get, some type of material. Now that right there let me know that the Holy Spirit is very real.
That's right.
Correct. And why else would you not? Yeah, right. Why else would you avoid it?
Protecting your family.
Right. But the fact that God showed in that moment my wife, right? Because I knew I didn't want to go into the store, but she was kind of like, yeah, whatever. Like,
what else about this store? Like, you said it had pride flags.
So it had pride flags, but it also had, like, you'll see, like, Obey. I don't know if you guys know, but Obey, if you follow the Obey clothing line and you look at some of the stuff in the Obey clothing line, I'm sure you guys have seen it. It's 666.
The Andre the Giant, like, Obey.
With the face on it?
Yeah.
If you follow it and you read the tags, it's 666 written in all of their clothing.
I didn't know that.
You guys didn't know that?
I had no idea.
Check it out.
I know that Obey and
666.
Go check my wardrobe at home now.
I didn't know
all of that stuff, all of the, like, satanic. But it's more like I'm a rock star, right? But it's written into the clothing. So they had, like, the Obey stuff. They had a flag in there, and I forgot what I saw. I saw some type of satanic. I think it was like a 8-point star or some shit that I saw. And I saw it, and I was like, no, we're not going in that store. And I felt that the store was just off spiritually. I didn't want to get no ice cream, and I didn't want my kids in there. Right? So I'm like, nah, babe, I'm not really feeling that store. You know, I didn't get super dramatic with it. I just was like, hey, you know, let's just keep walking.
Do something else,
yeah. But it was just very interesting that at that moment, God, in that very moment, because we could have walked by those girls and they said nothing. It just so happened that those girls were whispering. My wife could overhear.
It was like an affirmation of your thoughts.
There we go.
Correct. Yeah. So that stuff is very real. And I just want to say, you know, even though it sounds like a conspiracy, don't be fooled. Listen to it.
We have to talk about, especially since you guys are fathers, we have to talk about at some point the father's masculine spiritual call to protect the family spiritually. Yeah, like we have to, because that's what I'm taking from what you're telling me right now. Like, like that is your calling as the father and the husband and the leader of the family.
Right. Even though I didn't. Even though
you knew without knowing.
Correct.
You knew without knowing.
So that brings up the point of, this will be our last topic, but that brings up the point of, you know, words, symbols, imagery have much more significance than you think it has. And, you know, even though you're a Christian, I think you should still avoid it. You know, that kind of like touches on that. I mean, that's scary stuff, man.
Yeah.
That's scary stuff to think that
Local store.
You walk in there and you don't agree with their ideals, or they get this satanic spirit, put a spell on you.
Or my kids, right? We're getting ice cream. Who the fuck knows what lady could be in there like, whoop, here you go. There's some ice cream. I wouldn't know. How would I know? Unless I, like you said, I knew without knowing.
Yeah.
But that was only because I believe that, you know, I have a relationship with Jesus Christ. And I'm not perfect. I'm not a perfect man, right? But I pray and I pray over my children and my family.
You guys ever seen a film called The Last Dragon? It came out in the 80s.
I have not.
With Bruce Leroy.
Oh, dude, Bruce
Leroy,
Leroy,
baby.
Bruce catching bullets with his teeth.
You never seen Bruce Leroy? You never seen that? Last Dragon?
Okay, so the film opens with him taking the last test. He's training for this like super black belt samurai thing. And the final test is he's blindfolded. He's doing all of these things, and the master is shooting arrows at him. Right? That's the premise. And he has to select the right arrow, blindfolded. And the master, and he does. And the master comes to him and says, like, "How did you know?" And he said, "I knew without knowing." It's that instinct piece.
Hell of a movie. Y'all should watch it. Great
absolutely.
80s movie.
Brother.
He was going.
Oh,
we connected right there. We connected.
Yes.
He was going Super Saiyan way before Goku.
Hey.
Well,
Yeah,
on the topic
Rappers.
of connecting, I hope the audience has connected with us in our conversations. If you haven't, please leave the hate comments as you guys have so graciously did on the TikTok.
Please.
If you don't know our TikTok handle, just type in Operation OTR. It's one word. You can also find that on Instagram and Operation OTR on YouTube as well. Please leave any comments, whether positive or negative. We love it all. We'll
Please
respond to you. So
subscribe.
just be ready for the rebuttal.
Subscribe.
So like, subscribe, comment,
That's right.
and that's all. Episode 6. Catch you guys in episode 7.
Cheers.
Cheers.